Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Healthcare Marketing Executive, brought to you by Outcomes Rocket. I am so excited to be with a good friend and industry expert today. He is the amazing Bryan Cush. He is the co-founder and president of Tidal Health Group. They're an agency focused in healthcare, but specifically provider groups. Bryan, thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, brother. And I really enjoy talking to you. And it's always fun under this formal setting.
I love it, man. I always love connecting with you. I'm always learning something new when I chat with you. For the people that don't know you, help them understand your journey and a little bit more about Tidal Health Group, what you guys do.
Yeah, for sure. I've been in and around the healthcare marketing industry about 15 years now. We've come to a very specific footing, kind of a sector of healthcare that we focus in, but that was kind of a journey over a long time. Personally, the story that kind of drove me into it was navigating, trying to find online experts almost 20 years ago. The internet was a very different place 20 years ago, and getting access to kind of up-to-date and real information was very difficult. And I was navigating a couple different kind of chronic diseases my mother had, and we had a lot of issues just like finding someone that actually knew who she was, and it was super frustrating. I was in the marketing world at that point, and that was kind of an interesting trigger point that we were working within healthcare, but then we started to focus into healthcare more. And that was just a moment of frustration that resonated with so many people, that if it's not you personally, you have one degree away from you of someone that has that screwed up healthcare story of whether it's as explicit as misdiagnosis or just kind of feeling lost in the system and not finding someone that understands what you have.
Totally, man. Hey, so before you started your agency, did you work in marketing or what was the story before that?
Meandering is probably the best single word to describe.
All right.
I have a very technical background. So I have a master's in information systems. I think very analytically and kind of connecting disparate systems and how to bring data into a story. I was working in finance. I was working in healthcare. I was a technical consultant in New York to a bunch of Fortune 50 companies. Hated it. It was as the grind of New York grind as you could imagine. Wanted to work for myself. This was 2009, and just started to teach myself web development and really early Google Ads. And that was, I guess, the first nucleus that is formed into an agency.
Cool, man. And I think that's really interesting to know, right? So your master's in information systems, because fast forward to today, we're working on things today on SEO, but now AEO to get people to meet us where we want them to meet us on our web properties, but they're doing a lot of that now in chatbots. You've always been preaching schemas. Help us understand a little bit more about that. Let's unpack this topic for our listeners.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a great concept. There's the literal schema that if you're in really deep marketing nerd land, you can go to schema.org, which is kind of this third-party collaborative. You can see, I think it's been blessed by Google and Microsoft in those. And kind of, this is how we look for websites to structure information. And it touches essentially every topic in the world. But if you go to schema.org/healthcare, there's an entire catalog of healthcare. And we've been building a CMS system to essentially structure that schema. In the simplest sense, schema is just a way to organize information. We've been preaching that for a long time. And what you're seeing now with the shift into this kind of agent-based search and more of a chat experience in a holistic sense, not just 3 to 5 keywords, is people are getting to know your brand really without interacting with your website. And what's happening is the conversations are much more in depth. What that means is you go into ChatGPT, you go into Perplexity, any of them, not only does it have a lot more historical knowledge about you, you're asking long form questions. You're asking multiple follow-up questions. You could be uploading information like PDFs. There's people that upload their own medical records. That's so much more context to a search in the sense of literal language, just more words, more sentences, that as they're then trying to pull information and potentially then get to a recommendation standpoint, they need to be very confident that the structured information on your website is correct because they're about to then bring that information into the chat. That's a really simplistic way that I look at of if you're just missing like the most simple concepts we talk about of like what services and what providers exist at each of your locations. So when you think of say like a multi-location, multi-specialty, if someone's now starting to ask for care, they need to be very clear in going, oh yeah, this location has these providers that offer this service and cover these departments. That's just relational schema of information.
Yeah. And so there's a format that is accepted and queried. What percentage of websites actually follow this?
I don't know if I know the answer on like a meta sense, but I can
What do you think
very,
based off of
very,
like a gut
yeah,
reaction based off of the
very
websites?
confidently, I can say the majority don't. And it's still funny, like it's the same thing our industry's been preaching for decades of like, you think of NAP is that acronym name, address, phone number, that when like local listings started to get popular, like Google Business and Yelp and all these things, there was this collective understanding that the name you call your business, your physical address, and your phone number need to be uniformed everywhere. That's a very common concept that's been around a long time. We are still preaching that, but now think of the exponential amount more of data about you that also needs to be uniformed everywhere.
Right.
So you think about the complexity of a multi-location practice or a hospital going, okay, how many locations do you have? How many departments do you have? How many providers do you have? What are their certifications? What is all the services they do? What are the associated reviews where people are explaining in layman terms the things they were suffering that then that person helped alleviate? All of that is now information that needs to be structured, uniformed, and then validated in multiple places for an AI agent to say, oh, yeah, we understand this. We're going to bring it into this person's conversation.
Yeah. So it's become more real. There's more data to structure now. Does it make that big of a difference, Bryan? Like the people that are employing this, and have you seen the numbers?
Yeah. The way I look at it in two different directions, and I think there's a lot of people kind of scrambling to go like, how much citation are you getting within chat? Because there's still some of a black box within it. The other way that we look at it is just from a business perspective is, are you still getting the actions that you're looking for? Inbound calls, appointment requests, appointment bookings. And as long as that number is still going up, we're at least trying to keep our eye on the prize of what the business of our clients is looking at. And that's what we're seeing is you're seeing less time on site and you're also seeing less traffic. But as soon as traffic comes, it converts. People are primed and ready. They're interacting with your brand. They're understanding information. They're learning about you much more deeply in these chat infrastructures that they become much more informed and aware. So things like share of brand or brand volume increase. Because instead of someone just searching orthopedic near me, they've already done a lot of research and have slotted 2 to 3 brands. So now they're going to search orthopedic plus your brand near me. They've already done that pre-research, and then they're going to go to Google now to validate the decision that they want to make.
Yeah, this is fascinating to me. And we're doing a lot of keyword analysis and we're writing blogs. The technical piece, as far as structuring it in a way that the crawlers understand it, the H1 headings, making sure that all that stuff are following that. The schema, I think, is next level.
Yeah. And it's something that it kind of has a dual purpose when we think about it. Like schema is a structure of content. That content should be readable and perceivable to the agent, but also to the user. I think there's this common misconception of a kind of like this decoupling to them, where schema will get painted on the back end of a site and then it'll be different than the information that's on the front end of the site. We're much more of a preaching that these things are wildly interconnected. You're just feeding the information and packaging it and organizing it, the same information in 2 different ways. So for us, it's been something we've preached for a really long time. And we're just kind of continuing to see the validation. It's kind of just more language is the way we think about it. We just think of like the way we used to search on traditional search engines was 3 to 5 to 7 keywords. It was kind of in this kind of like noun based or adjective based search pattern. Now we're in chat searching multiple sentences.
Yeah.
So we need to have more language to give context to the agent to be confident that you're meeting that user's intent.
It's all becoming AI. AI is eating software. It's the reality of it. So folks, some great opportunities here to discover ways to get your brand, your practice, your organization in front of your right buyers in the right way with Bryan here. What's one of the most common misconceptions, Bryan, that you see when you start working with practices? Quick wins.
The quick wins or common misconceptions?
Both. So maybe is there a cross section where quick win, common misconception, or give me one of each?
I'll give one thing from a different perspective than you're asking is like a misconception, I think, is like what marketing's being asked to do. And even when I think about it from like our clients, from a CMO's perspective, like our point of contacts, like the conversations are getting to a level of really like connecting to downstream revenue, connecting to one-time value, lifetime value, segmenting service line, getting to a level of kind of business nuance that is so outside and kind of breaking the mold of what some, I think, traditional kind of like stalwart views of marketing were, that it's really becoming this huge Venn diagram overlap into kind of, I look at it as the veins connecting to the CFO, to the CIO, the CMO, that were kind of trying to orchestrate things at a much deeper level to understand what's moving the needle in the business. That to me is just more of like a misconception of how marketing's evolved and kind of the expectation of marketing as a department.
I always like to have this conversation, Bryan, and I talk to people about like marketing should be treated like legal or finance. If you really want your program to make a difference, like why would you just hire anybody off the street to do this for you?
Yeah. There's a rigor and a science to it.
There is, so I'm glad you went there. Look, man, I always enjoy these conversations with you. If people want to take their web presence, their marketing to the next level, what's the best way they could get in touch with you and your team?
Yeah, if you're looking just to connect with the agency itself, is Tidal Health Group, kind of anywhere online. It's our website. Me personally, LinkedIn's probably the best platform. Just searching my name or our agency is kind of where I try and be active. And either way, we're always happy to be helpful where we can. We offer kind of strategy consultations. We love this space. We really try and be as agnostic as possible and kind of making recommendations and kind of where people need to be at this moment in time and their growth journey within the practice.
And what meetings can they find you at?
Meetings?
Yeah. Conferences. Any favorite conferences?
Yeah. So like healthcare, marketing, and physician summit, I think. I forgot all the names. I know the acronym. HMPS we're going to next month in Salt Lake City. HCIC was one we've spoken at and gone to a few times. We are 100% focused on brick and mortar care delivery. So our clients are multi-location practices, kind of regional hospitals. So there's kind of a subset of conferences around those. We've done the regional ones in Carolina, Mid-Atlantic Healthcare Agency. There's so many friggin' acronyms.
there are, man. It's an acronym soup. The point here, folks, is Bryan and his team are at all the conferences that you're going to if you're a provider, brick and mortar provider. So if you see him, now you know his face, tap his shoulder, say hi, reach out to him. In the show notes, we'll leave all the ways to get in touch with him and his team at Tidal Health Group. Thank y'all for tuning in for today's session with Bryan Cush. Bryan, thanks for being with us. This is fun.
Yeah, appreciate it, Saul. It's always great to chat.